Thanks for joining me today. This is Danny, and welcome back to my Thaumcraft 5 series, episode number 2. In our last episode, we got ourselves a very basic wand and covered a lot of the basics in Thaumcraft, and we made our very first wand focus, which is this shock focus, for which I am now looking for a volunteer to test it out with. And then today we're actually going to upgrade our wand, and we're going to get into alchemy. We're going to get into basic alchemy. Here we go. Here's our first volunteer, our volunteer tester. Hooray! And don't worry, it is not real lightning. It will not charge the creeper. But you can see it has a pretty far range. It shoots really straight, and it does a reasonable amount of damage. But later on, we'll be able to upgrade this and add we can add more features to it so that I can like hit many mobs at once, or we can just make it stronger. So if you've played earlier versions of Thaumcraft, you may be wondering why I haven't made a Thaumometer yet, and how I've managed to get this far without one. Well, the answer is you don't need one, because remember, the research game is different. You get research points with each research note, so you no longer have to run around the world scanning things in order to get research points. However, you do need to scan things in order to progress through all the research. So there are a few research things in your Thaumometer that you can't reach, or that you can't even see, until you scan something in the world. So the Thaumometer now has two purposes. One is to scan things, although it's much easier to scan now than it used to be. And anytime you're holding it and you see these little question marks, that means that there's something there that you can scan. So we just gained practical knowledge of Bestia. But now you can see those question marks are gone on all those things. Oh, I see one somewhere else. On wood. So herba. We gained practical knowledge of herba. So these are essences that we're learning about. Fabrico. Cognitio. So we can run around the world and scan things that we see question marks about. Is it this? Yeah, there we go. Census? Stained clay teaches us about census. Interesting. And we can even scan mobs sometimes. Oh, and that. So the fern gives us information about air. Can we scan a creeper? Doesn't look like it. Okay. So the other thing that this thing shows us, while we're holding it, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see a bunch of different colors in kind of a little meter up there, or whatever you want to call it. That's showing us all the different aspects that exist in the air right now, all the different V. And okay, Creeperville over here now. It's showing them in relation to each other, so you can see the 6 different colors up there represent the 6 different essentia, and if we hit the F key, it'll toggle through showing us the value of each of those things. So right now we're actually looking at a comparison of them to each other, and you can see we have a lot of air, we have a lot of terra, we have a lot of Bordeaux, we don't have much ignis, and we have just a little bit of, and I guess a moderate amount of water. And if we go through, we can see this is our air, this is our ignis, this is aqua, terra, Bordeaux, and Perditio. So it looks like we have a lot of everything except ignis and Perditio. And later on we'll learn how to change that, how to get the V here that we need. But for now we're kind of stuck with what's here, and every chunk has a different amount of V. So like if we walk in this direction, we'll see those colors kind of shifting around a little bit. Our wand is grabbing essentia from the air, and this is showing us how much exists in the air. So if we use our wand to zap this creeper, you can see our air is going down because the shock focus uses a lot of air. In fact, I'm clicking right now and I can't use it because I've run out of air, and it only charged while I have it in my hotbar. And we ran out kind of quickly. I mean, before I was running around killing mobs, and I'd kill like 2 mobs and then I'd run out. And that's because we have the cheapest wand possible right now. And it's also because we can only charge the wand while we're holding it. So those are two things that we're going to change very shortly. So there's a couple things that we're going to have to research to do the things that I just mentioned. One of those is under Thaumaturgy. That's where our wand stuff is going to be. Our first wand that we made was the iron-capped wooden wand. That's actually the only wand that you can make in a crafting table. It's also the only wand that you can make before doing any research. So anything else we need research for. So gold wand caps. The next wand that we'll make will be a great wood wand with gold wand caps. That's actually the next tier. I'm going to do the research for those off camera. And then the other thing that we want to research is advanced aura tapping, which will allow us to charge our wand when it's in our hotbar, even when we're not holding. As you can see, it takes a certain amount of V. And then we can make our great wood. Oops, can't search in there. We actually need 2 great wood logs. Yeah, just like so. And we put that in there, and then we put the caps on the ends, just like we did with our other wand. We have insufficient V. We need 59.4 of each. And we're out. So we have to go like this. We have to hold our wand to let it charge so that we have enough V. Okay, we have enough V now. And ta-da! We now have a more powerful wand. Yay! Well, we have a wand that holds more V. And with our iron-capped wooden wand, where it's showing us the list of all the different aspects, it says 110% V cost, which means that when something like this recipe that we just did, like for instance the Great Wood wand, it was only 24 V is the base cost of that recipe. But when we used our iron-capped wooden wand, it was telling us it's costing 26.4. Well, what's the deal with that? Well, the deal is that it's costing us 110% V because the iron caps are inefficient. But this one is 100% V, which means it's actually going to cost us exactly 24. So 26.4, 24. Oh, actually, we don't want to make that right now. I'm just doing that for demonstration purposes. So when we make our wands, all the wands are going to be made of some kind of a core. You know, our first one was just a stick. And the core is going to determine how much V it can hold. So our stick could hold 100 V. This guy can hold... Oh, why do I have that one? This guy can hold 250 V. The caps are going to determine the efficiency. So how much, what our V cost is going to be and whether we're going to get a discount. So the golden wand caps are 100%, which means that there's no penalty like we got with the other wand. Now when we get into our brass and thaumium wand caps, we're actually going to get a discount of V so that it's going to cost less. And we're actually going to get into that more next time. And I did do the aura tapping, the advanced aura tapping. So it's now charging twice as fast, and it's charging even when we're not holding it, as you can see. However, it does have to be in the hotbar. Take a focus off a wand, we do a Shift F, and that takes it off. Now it's in our inventory again. So now we can get rid of that. We can hold this wand and do F and select the wand focus again. So now we should be able to attack a lot more mobs. We'll also be able to craft more complicated recipes because we have more V. I'm now doing the research for Master Aura Tapping, and I ran out of ink. I'll show you what happens when, or what to do when that happens. But we've got we started with Permutatio, Aurum, Potentia, and Modus. Permutatio is Ordo and Entropy, so I used Entropy, and then Vacuous, which is Entropy and Air, because Aurum has air. And then we went Vacuous over here because I got a free one, which took us to air because Modus has air. So then we put Modus here again, and then Modus also has Ordo, as does Potentia. So I put 2 Ordos there, and now we can actually have anything with Ordo. And I just made some Modus. So now we have advanced ore tapping, which is right here. You have added further refinements to the methods you use to tap aura. You are now able to draw V 3 times faster than normal. And then the aura preserver. Oh, I already have that one. I'm going to do that one next. When we draw V from the environment, we do run the risk of depleting one of the V aspects. And if you deplete a V aspect and throw things out of balance, you're opening things up for taint. If you have Flux, and we will have Flux, because everything that we're going to be doing from pretty much here on out is going to produce Flux. There we have it. There's our solution. You can pause if you want to look. So that's our advanced, or our aura preserver. So you are now able to instinctively stop wands and other carried devices from draining V if the local aura drops too low. This should help prevent the buildup of Flux. This only applies to tools and devices that you wear or carry. So I just killed a vampiric angry zombie. A lot of the Thaumcraft mobs, especially the ones that are more difficult to kill, do drop these loot bags, these little treasure bags, which apparently you can use for trading. It says, click to open or keep to trade. And most of them have these gold coins. Remember I was talking before about and then a splash health potion. Sometimes you'll get other little goodies like ender pearls or even some like dungeon type loot, like the mundane ring and knowledge fragments. And sometimes you even get diamonds and emeralds too. But this was a common loot bag, and there's also like uncommon and rare, which would obviously have better stuff. So we're just about to get into a little bit of alchemy. Okay, this might be a little dangerous, but fortunately it's only temporary. So we've got a vanilla cauldron with a piece of netherrack 2 blocks down that's lit on fire. We hit it with our wand, and ta-da, we have a crucible. Uh-oh. I actually have crafting tables here because they don't burn. At least they're not consumed by fire, but apparently they can still... I had stone here before, and the stone was actually lighting up. I don't know what the heck that's all about, but this house is very flammable. It's a lot of wood, and then we've got this carpet, so one of the first things I want to do is make some nitor. That's the first thing we're going to do in our crucible. So crucible, this is kind of another crafting mechanic. You can see all the different colors of nitor we can make, but it all starts with yellow nitor, which is... not this. Okay, there we go. It's glowstone dust dropped into a crucible that has these aspects in it. 3 potentia, 3 ignis, and 3 lux. So if we actually shift and hover over all of our different items, we can see that they all have certain aspects. And it turns out that coal has 2 potentia and 2 ignis, and torches have 1 lux. So we throw in the coal, we throw in this, and then we go boom, boom, and we end up getting back this yellow nitor. So now the nitor can actually do 2 things. 1, it makes a really cool light source, and 2, it heats up our crucible, so we don't have to use fire anymore. And we can go like this. And it's just this glowing source of light. We can get rid of the torch in here now because we don't need a torch anymore. You may have noticed something while we were doing this. There was no way for us to know what we had already put in the crucible. So we put our coal in there, we put our torches in there. What if we put the wrong thing in there? Well, if we put the wrong thing in there, we're going to end up producing flux, because if there's any leftover aspects, we're going to end up with flux. And when we're doing the crucible, I mean, there are going to be times where we are going to end up with leftover aspects, so we are going to produce a small amount of flux, but we want to minimize that as much as possible. So that's where the goggles of revealing come in. That was an easy one. Hooray! So now we can craft a goggles of revealing. We need 4 leather, 2 gold, and then 2 thermometers. So the thermometers we can actually make with any 2 shards. And since we have the most earth shards, I'm just going to grab 4 of those. And by the way, if you use JEI, it does work with the arcane workbench. And then when we hover over it, it tells us that we're missing a thermometer. So I'm going to make, actually I'm going to make 2 more of these, because we want to keep one. Oh, I should have shift clicked. And then here we're going to need our wand, because there's V required. Hooray! So the goggles are revealing take the place of our helmet, which means we're going to lose a little bit of protection. But they allow us to see things. So for instance, if we do that same thing again, and you want to make sure that you have everything ready right away, because if stuff sits in here too long, it'll start to kind of boil away. And of course it'll become flux then. So now we can see what's in there. Nice. Hooray. Now we have 2 more Nitors. Cool. And the other thing that we can see with our goggles of revealing now, if we go out in the world, is we can see aura nodes. If there are any. You can actually see through blocks. You can see the aura nodes through blocks. I can see one over there. Seeing aura nodes isn't really all that important at this point in the game, but it will become more important later if we want to start manipulating the aura nodes and moving them around and all that fun stuff. Which we will. We'll do that. So there's an aura node. This one has Ordo in it. It has 48 Ordo. And the more the more of an aspect that it has, the faster it will replenish that aspect in the atmosphere. So the aura nodes still look the same as they used to, but we can no longer draw but we can no longer draw V from them by right-clicking on them. Because you don't have to. Because you can draw a V from them just by being here. Just by being in the world. And absorbing the essence. I can see another one over there. It looks yellowish, so it's probably air. There are 2 new enchantments with Thaumcraft. Haste and Repair. Repair slowly repairs things, weapons and armor. Thaumcraft weapons and armor. You can't get it on books, though. You can only get it directly on the armor piece itself, or on the piece itself. And then Haste, which we can use on our boots, like our Boots of the Traveler that we'll be making very soon. That will make us go really, really, really fast. These are blocked out. It says they're missing research. That either means that there's some research, because usually you can see, you have to do this research before you can do this one. You have to do this one before you can do this one, but there must be some other requirement as well. And that would be one of 2 things. Either it's something in a different tab that is kind of linked to it in the back end, or it's something that we need to scan in the world with our Thaumometer. I would like to make some Thaumaturge's robes, which are basically kind of like armor. They give us leather protection, big deal, right? But the beauty of them is that they give us they give us a discount of V, so that when we're crafting stuff in our arcane workbench, it'll cost us less. So what we're going to need to make our stuff is enchanted fabric. And enchanted fabric, as we can see, is wool and forced string. And there's actually only 3 pieces. There's boots, there's leggings, and there is the robe, which is basically the chest piece. There is no helm, because theoretically you would be wearing your goggles of revealing, which actually gives you a 5% V discount. So these robes are something that we're going to be using. So actually, what are we going to need? We're going to need, well, 24 minus 5, so 19 wool. And then we're going to need 19 times 4 string. So that would be... Oh, yeah, I've been out killing spiders. And by the way, when you're playing Thaumcraft, keep all of your mob drops, because you're going to need everything that mobs drop pretty much at some point in the game. Like even rotten flesh. Rotten flesh is going to become important to us. And the zombie brains, those are going to become very important to us. So anyway, 19 times 4 is 76. So we need 76 string. We don't have 76 string. So we're going to have to make some more. I've been killing all the spiders I can. But to get string in Thaumcraft, you can actually put wool in your crucible with some Perditio. What has Perditio? Cobblestone has Perditio, but it also has Terra. So today we're going to, in this process, we're going to figure out why it is that we want to get rid of this crucible and start getting into some more advanced alchemy, because it's really hard to come up with items that have just exactly the stuff that you need for crafting something. So each one we need, let's see, one cobblestone and one wool. Now if we leave that in there too long, it's actually going to dissolve and become flux. So there we go. So now we're stuck with Terra in our crucible. Eventually that Terra is going to dissolve unless we can come up with something to craft with it. We're going to lose it, and it's going to become flux. And actually you can see right now it's floating away. Isn't that cool? I love that graphic. It's floating away, and that just became flux in our atmosphere. So now if we look at our flux, we can see, well, it's such a small amount that it probably just got absorbed. We have a very tiny amount. But yeah, you can kind of see a little, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can see a tiny little itty-bitty line at the bottom of there, a little purple line showing how much flux there is. It's no big deal to have a little bit of flux. I mean, we're going to have flux. We're actually going to end up having a lot more than that eventually, because just about everything we do is going to cause some kind of flux. But we want to minimize it, and also we don't want to waste stuff. So, but anyway, so I'm just going to keep doing this until we have, what did I say, 76? Yeah, we're going to have just enough, aren't we? Let's see, that's 73. Yeah. So we have 77 now. So now we have this 8 Terra that's just going to end up floating away into the atmosphere. And we can actually use our wand to just get rid of it. And then it just immediately turns it into flux. So now we can use our crucible for something else. But we have to get water for it. And there we go. We have exactly 19 of everything. We stick our wand in there. 4.75 for each. So there we have it. Now we can make our this. And you can see it's costing us 30V. Now it's only costing us 20, whatever that says, 20. And if we take off our goggles of revealing, you can see that it's normally 30V. We put our wand in there. Our wand gives us, oh, this one actually doesn't give us a discount. We haven't gotten to discounts yet. But we'll put that on. And ta-da! And we saw it only cost 28. And now we can make the boots. Now again, the base cost is 20. With our goggles of revealing, we get the 5% discount, which brings it down to 19. Now if we wear our robe, we're down to 18.6. And then next is, so we don't do the helm, we just do the leggings. Oh, I hear a spider. So now we're at 23.25. That's with our discount, otherwise it's 25. And then if we put on our boots that we just made, it's going to be even less. Now it's 23. And that'll give us yet another 2% discount. So there we have it. There's our Thaumometer's robes. They don't give us much protection, but they kind of look cool. They look all spiritual and everything. So what I'm actually going to do is make it an armor stand, because we're not going to be wearing these when we're out there, because they don't give us much protection, as you can see. You know, we've only got 3.5 armor protection, and plus we want to save them too. We don't want to have to be remaking them all the time. We'll just leave that stuff there while we're doing other stuff, and we'll wear our iron for now. And we'll just basically grab the stuff off the stand when we need to do something that has a V cost. Next time we're going to continue kind of progressing in all 4 of these tabs, and maybe we'll even see a new tab next time. We'll see. And we're probably going to get into wand foci more. We're probably going to make all the wand foci and a focus pouch to carry them in. Probably won't get into focal manipulation yet, but we'll probably upgrade our wand again. We'll get deeper into alchemy for sure, and deeper into artifice. I hope you did enjoy this. I hope you maybe learned a little bit, and if you have any questions about Thaumcraft or anything else, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you have any comments whatsoever, any suggestions, whatever, doesn't matter. If you just want to say hello, feel free. I hope you'll join me next time, and if you did enjoy this, please don't forget to click the like button, and thanks for watching.